What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in to the Brass Ring Media Podcast, the flagship show for Thursday, June 20th, 2024. What's going on? I'm Zach Hadorn. I am your host. Normally, I am joined by Tyler Sage, who is my co-host here on the flagship show and fellow founder of Brass Ring Media, but he's out. He's out on assignment. He's doing some stuff. Some life stuff got in the way, as did our schedule today. Goodness gracious. Thanks for bearing with us. Normally, we are on here at 3 Eastern, and so we're a couple hours behind schedule, but things are, sometimes life just gets crazy. And unfortunately, we can't just live in pro wrestling analysis land as much as I'd like to. But yeah, I'll be going on vacation, heading to good old Florida with the family tomorrow. So you'll see some fresh faces here with Brass Ring Media content throughout the next 4 or 5 days while I'm out. So that's exciting for you. You don't have to hear my my voice over and over and over again. Although I appreciate that you enjoy that you enjoy the analysis that we bring. But always good to think of some fresh voices here as well. If you can't tell, my voice is going. So that was another reason why we tried to, or why I tried to push this off a bit, just to see if I can get this voice back in order to do a flagship show, because that's what we do. We push through. We don't want to miss anything here, especially with some really big news to talk about, which we have. So let's take care of some business first. And by the way, I'm going to try to go as long as I can. Of course, my voice is going the day that the co-host is missing, but we'll try my best. We're going to go as long as we can and probably be a shorter show than normal. But hey, there's plenty to talk about, and we are here to talk about it with you. This is the Brass Ring Media Podcast. This is the flagship show here at Brass Ring Media on the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel. We have the flagship show twice a week, once on Tuesday nights and also again here on Thursday afternoon. So you can always check us out twice a week, talking just broadly, just the news of the week, all that crazy happenings in pro wrestling, WWE, AEW, and everything and anything in between. We also have specialty shows that are live as well on Mondays and Wednesdays. And later tonight, Robert Vallejos has his specialty show here, Nocturnal Knockout, which is just like a late night sports talk type of vibe that I think is just a tremendous show. And if you're not listening to it, you should. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is right there. Hit subscribe. And that way you don't miss anything. You don't miss any of the live stuff that we do or videos that we post. Yesterday's episode of Spotlight, which is our Wednesday specialty show that I usually host, was a special interview with Eric Young of TNA, kind of a TNA legend. And he spoke in great detail about TNA as a company, and kind of looking back at the company's journey throughout the last handful of years, but also its future too. And we spent a ton of time talking about the partnership with WWE and what that means. And he was, very complimentary of Triple H and gave him a lot of credit for WWE's resurgence. But that interview is up right now. You can check it out right here on the YouTube channel. But I say all that, so subscribe. Just subscribe so you don't miss anything. We also have written work that goes up every single day. That's on our Substack page. We have a Substack newsletter updated daily with show reviews and show reports and editorials, features, written versions of our interviews that we do. So that's free to subscribe to. Just head over to Substack, search Brass Ring Media Substack in Google. We're the first thing that comes up. You can't miss us, all right? If you want a little bit more, you want a heavier dose of what we do at Brass Ring Media, we do offer membership, and that helps us keep this whole thing rolling. This helps keep everything on the track. It's only $4 a month, $4 to become a Brass Ring Media member. You get access to everything that we do, everything. That is a full access to the newsletter, so the paid articles and the free articles. You get a member-only podcast once a week from myself and Tyler Sage. You get all of our PLE and pay-per-view review shows. And those are my favorite. You get those as part of membership too. And you get specialty member only shows from myself and Tyler and others. I do a show once a week on my book, Stunning the Wrestling Artistry of Steve Austin. You can pick that book up right now on Amazon. That is a full artistic analysis of Steve Austin's career, all his matches from his first match to his last one. I mean, not every single match, but you know what I mean? Like we chronicle his entire career, talk about the in-ring art. And then we have a companion podcast that goes along with it for our members. Tyler does a show called Miscellanea. That is a show just about anything. Most recently, he did a show with a blogger for the Dallas Mavericks ahead of the NBA Finals, which was really cool. So yeah, bottom line, try us out. Let us earn your business. Give us a shot to earn your business. We certainly will do our best, and we offer some really great perks for our members. So give that a go. As far as today goes, I have the live chat open for you guys to get going. I've got the super chats open as well. If you guys are able to make a contribution to the show, make a contribution to what we do here at Brass Ring Media, ask a question. We'll get it answered exclusively right here. And we do appreciate that in advance. So thanks. Hello to everybody who's filing in the chat. Azan is in there. Azan says, Zach, back at it again, talking about this small TV show on Superstation. You mean AEW, I think, Azan. Yes, we'll be spending some time talking about AEW today, provided my voice can keep up. What's up, Sean? Sean's in there, chat as well. Sean, man, good to talk to you. Glad you're here. I feel like it's been a bit, man. But pumped to have you here in this on this impromptu flagship show that has been thrown off course, scheduling, my voice, all sorts of issues. But here we are. All right, let's get into the meat of the show, and I want to talk AEW, as Hassan said. Usually our Tuesday shows are more like WWE focused, and our Thursday shows are more AEW focused because it's coming off the heels of Dynamite. You know, that makes sense, right? Let's talk first about the Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland face-to-face that they had. That was like a big selling point of the show this week. I'll be doing that a lot on this show, guys, so bear with me. So last week on the show, I thought they ended the show with a really cool, like, you know, like not designed interaction between Swerve and Ospreay. It felt really authentic. It felt like, you know, these two guys just cross paths in the ring. They respect the other, but they both know that they're gonna fight, and they're gonna have a big match for the world championship. That was a home run segment. I really thought that was well done. I thought you had your top guys deliver in the best way possible. I was looking for the same thing this week, and I think they almost got there. I really do. I think, well, let me just take a step back on that, actually. Swerve and Ospreay were great. So they themselves, I think, hit a home run with what and how they went about the content that they had. I thought Swerve, you know, it's so cool to see two guys who are baby faces like approach being baby faces so differently. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've got Will Ospreay, who is more of the traditional baby face. I mean, obviously he definitely has an edge to him. Obviously he's got, but he's got like a crazy move set. He's got, just like a backlog of being like a baby face and somebody that's really likable, that has been in big matches. And then you have Swerve, who's just a little more edgy. He's been a heel in AEW, so he has to kind of account for all of that and his past in AEW. And so they're both going about being a babyface in different ways, but it's working at the same time. It's working. So I think that they did hit the home run that they were looking to hit. I think that you had your top guys once again do top star things. Now, that being said, I question kind of the strategy in terms of what road they were traveling down as far as the content of this promo. I think you can read a lot into it. The Don Callis element to this that was brought in, I don't think that was an accident. And that worries me, frankly. I think this is a huge match. And I really, I think the expectation that AEW fans have here is there's going to be a finish. Like, we're going to know who's the best. Is it Swerve? Is it Will Ospreay? Tony Khan booked the match, and now Tony Khan's going to pay it off and give a finish that matters. I think that is what the expectation is. Last night, they put out there an avenue where that doesn't happen. By evoking the name of Don Callis and the Don Callis family, and having Will Ospreay just totally dismiss them like as his group, and then have Don Callis backstage like try to calm down like the guys in his family, like Takeshita and Fletcher and Trent Beretta. Like, I don't think that's an accident. Like, they even cut backstage to show them there. And so, like, I think that they may have tipped their hand as to how it goes down at Forbidden Door. Like, could it be that the Don Callis family gets involved and cost Will Ospreay that match because he disrespected them? Like, it's like the Occam's razor of it all. Like, that to me, like, there's some really cool ideas going around in the chat here that I'll get to in a second. But the Occam's razor is, hey, they did this. They talked about the Don Callis family. Like, why bring that up if that's not going to be a part of the story and a part of how this match goes? So that has me a little bit worried. I don't like that. I don't know why you even have Don Callis involved with Will Ospreay at this point. It's like that relationship is on and then it's off. Then it's on and then it's off. And then it's like they don't mention it for like a month, and now they mention it when they need to. So it's really kind of convenient that they bring that back. So Sean in the chat here, gosh, that would be an awful finish, he says with a bunch of exclamation points. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I don't think I'm crazy. I mean, I can't really land at a point of why you do that type of promo and why you would bring that up if it wasn't going to go down that road. Zahn is in the chat. He's got a different theory that, hey, maybe it's going to be Prince Nana that turns on Swerve. That's not good either. Look, you don't want Will Ospreay winning winning the championship for the first time, the world championship for the first time, in a like shenanigan finish like that. It'd be bad enough for Swerve to retain that way, but Ospreay can't win the world title for the first time with interference, from his manager, Prince Nana. I think that would be just as much of a mess as the Don Callis family getting involved in costing Ospreay. Either way, Sean hit the nail on the head in the chat here. They need a straight finish, and they do. When you book a match like this, you gotta have the guts to go ahead and do a finish with it. And look, maybe they will. Maybe this is all just red herring, but usually stuff like this in wrestling is not. And so the antenna went up a little bit. The antenna went up to me, and because you got to think, how are they going to get out of this? How, are they going to do a finish? Do you go with Swerve or do you go with Will Ospreay? Tony Khan's got to pick one. He's got to pick his favorite toy and go with it, right? Which one are you going to take to dinner? I know this all too well because my 5-year-old right now loves bringing a toy when we go out to dinner, really anywhere. So it's a big to do. Which toys are going to be this time? And that's like Tony Khan if you do a straight up finish. And so if you're not going to do a straight up finish, I mean, you have to. It better be damn good. It better be really good. And I don't think either of the scenarios, like, not that you guys aren't creative in the chat, I don't think either of those scenarios is really good for Swerve, for Ospreay, for the AEW World Championship, for anything. I don't think that works. That works nicely. Yeah, there's a debate going on in the chat right now on, if you do a straight up finish, it hurts. It hurts guys, both the guys. I don't think it does. And if it does, then that's on your booking. That's not on your finish. Like, I mean, like, it's totally 100% on the booking if it doesn't work out after the fact. So yeah, I mean, you got to be ready for it. Yeah, like, if Swerve wins, you got to be ready for Ospreay. Something else for him to do. It's got to be his journey back to the title. Same thing with Swerve. Be ready for that. Who's he going to work with next? What's that story going to be? But it doesn't hurt them. It only hurts them if you forget about them. And so no, I kind of disagree with that premise. Chat. Okay, here's the other thing I didn't like about the promo last night. And again, I already talked about how much I did like it. I'm just talking things that didn't work. You don't want to have Swerve throw out to the world ever, but especially not. Like, you don't want anybody talking about the world title the way Swerve talked about it last night. In that, okay, if I lose it, no big deal. No big deal. I got all this other stuff going on, but Ospreay, that world title is all you have. It's like that. I don't think fans want to hear that from your babyface world champion. I think the perception that you want to create as a babyface world champion is that being world champion in AEW is the biggest thing in the world and the only thing that's important. That, I mean, seriously, like that's fans want to cheer for somebody like that. That is something that you can connect with. So I think it was a mistake for Swerve to put that out there. It's not going to derail him at all. I don't think it's going to totally like shatter, any kind of credibility that he has, or even any kind of momentum that he has. But you just want to be careful with that kind of thing. That's where somebody in the back working with these guys on promos, whether it's Tony Khan or another agent or a production assistant or somebody, needs to say, they need to say, hey, Swerve, don't do this. Don't say that. And give him a reason why. But that's like the quality control that I think AEW needs on some of these promos. Again, it's not going to derail. It's not something that's going to, completely shatter his run, but you just can't say that. You can't say that about being champion. Like, I don't think that makes you look like a guy that fans want to cheer for. I mean, so if that's what they're going for, okay, but they're not going for that. They're not going for that. So it was a miss, not a planned thing. So I ask you, chat, and everybody who's watching on YouTube and everybody who's watching on Twitter, I ask you this. All right. Did you get a sense yesterday after this promo who you thought might win this match? And I'll reveal mine first. I think that it's going to be Swerve. I based on what we saw. I think that they leaned so far into okay, all right, good. This is fun. There's pushback in the chat for sure. I mean, the reason I can't get over the Don Callis family stuff that they brought up. So I mean, I think that's the out. That's the out that they're setting up for Ospreay to lose. Ospreay loses and he's got a reason to, because for whatever reason, Don Callis and the Don Callis family got involved for better or worse. I don't like that finish. I just talked about that for like 10 straight minutes, but I can't get past that at the moment. They've got 1 week to go. They've got 1 week to go to kind of continue the story. But yeah, I think for that reason, I say Swerve's winning. And I think that, I don't know, like Sean is in the chat's pretty sure that it's going to be Ospreay. And so that's exactly what AEW wants, right? They want people to think one way strong, and they want people to think the other way strong. So Sean's in the Ospreay camp. I think Ospreay, both guys can overcome a loss, right? If the booking is strong. I think Ospreay, it's easier for him to overcome the loss. I mean, he's got, it's just an incredible in-ring ability that anything he does is going to hook fans right back. There's matches that he can have, like at All In, that are really, really big without the championship. They teased MJF last night, MJF and Ospreay. So maybe that's something that they go to as like a number one contender match or something like that at All In. So there's still things, really big matches for him to have at All In if it's not going to be the world title. Swerve, on the other hand, I think that he really, I just think he loses more with the loss than Ospreay does. Both guys can get out of it. Both guys can overcome a loss. That's there. But I think it's easier for Swerve too. And based on all that stuff with the Don Callis family, I think we might be in for a shenanigan finish, guys. And I hope I'm wrong about that. Hi, Tracy. What's going on? Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for putting up with the delay in the show today. We had scheduling issues. My voice is on the fritz. So, tried to hold this as long as possible. But us here. We wanted to get the show in for sure, and not miss, because, hey, that's what we do. But thanks so much for being here, Tracy. Thank you. Appreciate you. Okay. Let's keep going. Okay. The Owen Hart brackets. I've had a bit of an issue with these, with the men's bracket. And so this should be a fun conversation, because I wonder where you guys are at in the chat about this. The women's bracket, I think, for the most part, is pretty solid. I think that's a solid, bracket of contenders. Look, you've got Willow Nightingale. She just was the TBS champion, and she wrestled Mercedes Moné in a really big match. Serena Deeb just challenged for the championship. She didn't win, but she was a challenger. She was in that picture. Deonna Purrazzo, same thing. Hikaru Shida, former champion. Saraya, former champion. Mariah May, budding star, and involved at the top of the division for AEW, and involved in the biggest storylines that they have. Chris Statlander, newly turned heel, and Nyla Rose, a former champion. So, all of these women, I think reasonably can reasonably be figured into this tournament, and that is what you want. You want your top stars of the division in this thing. The only stars, the big time stars that aren't in this, Mercedes Moné. All right, so she's not in it. I think that's a mistake. I think you want to have your top stars in this thing with such a big prize on the line. This is for a world title match at the biggest show of the year, All In, inside Wembley Stadium. This is like the Royal Rumble, right? This is that. Seriously, the stakes are almost the exact same, just in a different company. And you wouldn't have your biggest women's star not in the Royal Rumble just because she has another title. So so I think that's a miss. I think that's the miss. But she's really only the only one that stands out. I mean, Britt Baker, of course, but she's has been away. Jamie Hayter, same thing. She's injured and hurt. She's been away. So like I think you can make arguments there. So the only really glaring miss for this bracket, for the women's bracket, is Mercedes not being in it. And again, I think that's not a great call. Look, and I'm going to say the same thing here for the men's bracket here in a minute, but I'll just make an overarching point. Even if you have secondary titles that top stars hold, you still want everything pointed at that world title. That world title being the prize that everybody is fighting for gives your show structure. It gives your company structure. It makes it so that there's a hierarchy of stars where you can go on journeys with guys and women because they start at the bottom and then they work their way up to the top. And the only way you can do that is if you have like a single solitary prize up there. That's what the world title is for. That's what that tool is for, to get stars over. So if you have a tournament like this, you don't have the biggest stars in it, you screw up the structure of what you're doing on a regular basis. Not as glaring of an issue in the women's bracket. Like I said, Mercedes Moné is the only issue I see there. But the men's bracket is egregious in that regard. This is the bracket. Okay. Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, Bryan Danielson, Shingo Takagi, Ray Phoenix, Jay White, Jeff Jarrett, and Wildcard. I mean, what are we doing here? Most of this bracket are guys that would never be in the conversation to win the world title. And that's not to say they shouldn't be, aiming at the world title, because I just said they should. But where is your big star power in the men's division? MJF's not in this. That's very strange. Okada is not in this. That's strange. That's strange too, right? Let's see. Who else are we missing here? Okay. Jon Moxley's not in it. So we've got MJF. We have no MJF. We've got no Jon Moxley. We've got no Okada. We also have no Samoa Joe, who is a former champion. Obviously we also don't have Will Ospreay, but he's getting a title match at Forbidden Door. So I mean, I think you can reason your way through. Like, he's not going to be in this tournament because he has a title match right now. That makes sense. But man, I mean, your big guys, your big guns, MJF, Moxley, Okada, Joe. What I mean, they don't want a shot at the title. I mean, I just think that's a really big mistake in terms of booking like the top of your card. I mean, look at this. Like, not only Bryan Danielson is obviously a name, right? I mean, he's a big time name, but he also like hasn't been presented as like this perennial world title contender. He's kind of just been off on his own, doing his own thing, having his own matches, and that's that. So if you stipulate to that reality with him, I mean, this is all mid card. There's not a main event in here, right? I mean, what are we doing? And this is not to say these matches aren't going to be good, because they are. I mean, Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi, that's a heck of a match. That's a really good match. I mean, obviously, that's a great Forbidden Door match too. But I just have that match if you want to have it, right? I mean, that's what this Forbidden Door event is about. Instead, I think you'd be better to do Bryan Danielson versus Okada in this tournament, or Bryan Danielson versus Joe, or Bryan Danielson versus Moxley, right? Same thing with Ray Phoenix. It's like, okay, yeah, he can have some good matches, but he's not a main eventer, not even close. Not even close. What would it look like if Jay White was wrestling Okada in that spot? What would it look like if Jay White was wrestling MJF again in that spot? It's just like it's a fundamental issue with AEW's booking. They put these tournaments out there with huge prizes on the line, and none of the top guys are in it. Again, this would be like CM Punk and Cody Rhodes not declaring for the Royal Rumble. That would never happen. That would make no sense. This doesn't make any sense either. Jeff Jarrett, I think, is in this, because he's close to Owen Hart, and that's fine. There can be spots like that in this tournament. I'm not saying that you can't put anybody in there that isn't a former champion or something like that. You can, but that has to be the outlier, not the other way around. Here, it's like a barrage of mid-card wrestlers and then Bryan Danielson. And so at best, all this does is tell you who's going to win. And I think Danielson is going to win, based on this bracket, right? Because who else, nobody else here is going to win. So at best, it's just incredibly predictable. But again, at worst, though, you have a situation where your top guys are not pointing at the biggest prize and not focused on the biggest prize. And that, to me, is a bigger fundamental issue with the company. You've got all these championships running around and they don't mean anything, but they all can't mean the same thing. And so, I just don't get it. I don't get the choice here. I mean, I do get it. They don't want to beat these guys. They don't want to beat Okada. They don't want to beat Joe. They don't want to beat MJF. They don't want to beat Moxley. That's why we're in the situation that we are. But if none of the top guys ever take, big losses, then you're not, making big stars either. Or you're not elevating people. So it has diminishing returns. I mean, like the G1 would stink if it was, Okada and a bunch of mid-card guys in New Japan. That would be terrible. Like the exciting part of the G1 is that you've got all the top guys in the company wrestling one another. That is the hook. And they do finishes, and top guys get beat and they're fine. So AEW's got to be smarter with these things. They do too many tournaments with big prizes at the end of them to not feature your big guys in a big way. I mean, it's a big mistake. Big mistake. So who do you guys think the wild card is going to be? Okay, all right. My good name is being thrown in the mud here in the chat. I'm not saying, I didn't say 50-50. I mean, when did I say that? When did I say that, sir? I said, you can beat people and it's fine. Like that's not 50-50 booking. It's a tournament. It's totally not the same thing. Absolutely not the same thing. And I think if you're afraid to put your top guys in this, then you're not confident in your booking. That's the reality of it. And it's not 50-50. I'm not saying give Okada a win and then give Joe a win over him because Okada beat him. That's 50-50 booking. I'm saying put your guys in there, make choices, show some guts, and book. That's the job. But that's not 50-50 booking. So I am going to push back on that, Mr. Azad. But thank you for the comment, man. I appreciate you. Always good to hear your thoughts. Okay. So last thing here, and then I'm gonna have to ride off into the sunset, guys, because my voice just cannot hang on much longer. What did everybody think of the women's angle from last night on the show, with Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm? This has interested me more than I thought it would, to be frank. I mean, I think Mariah May is really coming along well since making her debut. I think she has shown just step after step after step after step moving forward. Slowly, but she's looked good in the ring. She's been good on the microphone. I think she plays a character very well. The audience reacts to her. I just think she has been, a big time get for Tony Khan. And like when you look at like how she was like brought into the company, that I always, and I said that at the time, like that was the best way to bring somebody in. There was no assumption there. There was not an assumption of, hey, we know that you know her, so we're going to treat her as this big star. Like, no, she kind of came in with limited fanfare, with limited notoriety, and then everything that she did, the reason why she's popular and notable and has momentum is because of things she did in AEW, in the AEW universe, in the AEW canon. Like that is, it all happened there. And I think that's really cool. I mean, she, whatever ends up happening with her, and no matter however popular she gets, like it happened in AEW, and it was on Tony Khan's watch. Like Tony Khan is making Mariah May a star. AEW is making Mariah May a bigger star than when she was not in AEW. And you don't see a lot of that in AEW, so it's important to point that out. So I thought she was great last night. Mina Shirakawa, I thought was excellent. She's got a special charisma about her. She reminds me like I don't even really know. I don't have a good comparison for her, and I think that's a good thing. That means she's a unique performer. I think that she just is great. Like she's got just like natural charisma that like attracts your attention. And she looks the part of a champion. I think she was great last night on the microphone. And then Tony Storm's Tony Storm. I think she's still like teetering on the edge of like being a babyface, but effective in what she does. So I'm in on this. I think that they've done a nice job. I think they've done a nice job with this match at Forbidden Door, like trying to actually tell a story, with the people at play here and use the history of Mariah May and Tony Storm and Shirakawa in Stardom. Like, why not? And I think that they've done a pretty nice job of that. They've given it a lot of time. It's Shashan's question here in the chat. Yeah, Mira is not going to win. She's clearly not going to win. But I think she's got a future in AEW if she wants it. I think she has a future in WWE if she wants it, to be honest. I really think that WWE would look at that segment last night and go, okay, like we need to look in her direction because she delivered like on the microphone. And, English is not her first language, but she was able to work through that promo just fine. And it was really, she was effective. So I think WWE might be looking her way too, Sean. And then like, this Anna Jay Saraya stuff, like they just want that was done strictly to get to a 6-woman tag, where you're going to have Shirakawa and Mariah May and Tony Storm on the same team. And they're going to continue that story of, who is May closest with? Is it Mina Shirakawa or is it Tony Storm? Like that's why they did that, and it's crazy to see because, because I'm laughing at Azan's chat. It says she's not blonde and doesn't have an NIL deal in response to Shirakawa. Yeah, no, she doesn't, but she's still very good and still, I think, what WWE looks for. Huge meet. So, it's crazy that Saraya is in this spot. After the big debut, she just kind of fell back. And now she's jobbing out. She's going to job out with, Anna Jay and Harley Cameron. Is that her name? Cameron Harley? Something like that. it's just tough, it's just, it's another major signing from Tony Khan that just didn't work out. And, she's going to be useful in roles like this, but I don't think you can put her in like world title matches anymore, not for a while anyway, until you kind of repair some things that have been done. Yeah. So, on her, on AEW, on Tony Khan, but this is what you get. This is what you get. It's not these things are not guaranteed to work. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. I appreciate you all today. I really do. I wanted to. Oh wait, we have one super chat here that I want to get to before we ride off in the sunset. Sean says here that hurts Ospreay more than helps. We talked earlier at the show, if you're just joining us here, about how about who losing, Swerve or Ospreay? Who does that hurt more? I landed on Swerve. Sean's landing on Ospreay here, and it's not going to be nice for Ospreay, Sean. Like, I'm not saying that he's totally going to be fine, but I think that Ospreay getting on a journey, and working back towards that to a title match again at some point, like I think fans will get on board with that. And so I think that helps him more than it hurts. It creates a story. It creates something for him to overcome. I think that's a good thing for somebody that, really hasn't taken any losses or any kind of faced any diversity at all in AEW. So that's what that's my take. But we'll see, Sean. I mean, we'll see. My biggest thing is you do a clean finish. That's the thing. And I think you can get it. You can, fix anything that's done with either guy. But if it's me, if it's my money, I'm putting it on Swerve. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. All right, you guys. Really, really fun show. Thanks so much for bearing with me on the show today. The timing and just the short nature of it. I do appreciate it. And do us a favor, check it out on YouTube. Check our channel out. We got some new stuff dropping. We got all of our live shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you want more of your Thursday Brass Ring Media fix, Robert Vejos will be on tonight live with Nocturnal Knockout. It's our Thursday late night show. Really fun show. I listen to it every week. I love it. It's one of my favorite shows. It's not just because it's here on our channel. It really is a good show. So check it out. Subscribe. If you're interested in becoming a Brass Ring Media member, you can head over to Brass Ring Media on Patreon. Patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. Cool. All right. Thank you all very much. Until next time, I'm Zach. See you guys later.